Welcome to The Nameless. This story is not for everyone, but if you're still here, take a deep breath. Let's begin.
I used to think her window light was comforting. Every night, without fail, it was on, a dull yellow square glowing across the narrow alley from my bedroom. It was the one constant in that building. And then one night, after months of never changing, it finally went dark. That's when it began. I'm telling this now because I keep checking my own windows. I keep my lights on until morning. And if you live somewhere close enough to see into your neighbor's place, pay attention to what stays the same for too long. I moved into that apartment because it was cheap. That's the honest reason. I just started a new job doing overnight IT support for a logistics company. Nothing glamorous, mostly resetting passwords and monitoring servers while the rest of the city slept. The hours were brutal, but the pay was decent, and this place was one of the few apartments within walking distance that didn't ask too many questions about my credit score. It was an old 3-story building squeezed between a laundromat and a closed-down dental clinic. Thin walls, narrow hallways. The kind of place where you learn your neighbor's routines whether you want to or not. My unit faced the alley. Across from me, maybe 30 feet away, was another building, just as old. Same layout, same peeling paint, same tired windows. That's where she lived. I never learned her name. Everyone just called her the woman in 3B. She was older, late 50s maybe, gray hair pulled back tight. Always wore the same pale cardigan when I saw her taking out the trash. But what stood out wasn't her, it was her light. Every single night her bedroom window was lit. Midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., didn't matter. That yellow glow was always there when I took my breaks and stared out the window to rest my eyes. At first, I assumed insomnia, or maybe she worked nights like me. It didn't bother me. Honestly, it made the alley feel less empty. A light means someone's awake, someone's alive. I'm not reckless. I don't snoop around people's windows for fun. But when you're sitting at a desk for 8 hours in the dark, your eyes wander, and over weeks, patterns form whether you want them to or not. Her curtains were always open just enough that I could see the glow, but never her. No silhouettes, no movement, just light. Normal enough. Then one Tuesday night, around 3:12 a.m., I remember because I checked the timestamp later, I glanced out like I always did. The window was black. At first, I thought the bulb burned out, or maybe she finally slept. I even felt a little stupid for noticing. People don't owe consistency to strangers. Still, something about it bothered me more than it should have. The alley felt darker, deeper, like the shadows had weight. I shrugged it off and went back to work. That was my first mistake. The next night, the light was still off. So was the night after that. I told myself to stop thinking about it. I had enough stress already. Bills, work, the constant exhaustion that comes from living backwards from the rest of the world. On the 4th night, I heard footsteps. It was subtle, just the soft scuff of shoes on concrete outside, echoing up the alley. Not unusual. People walked through there sometimes to cut between streets. But the sound stopped when I stopped moving. I was pacing while on a call, headset on, listening to some guy complain about a printer that smelled hot. I froze mid-step, listening. Silence. I waited a few seconds, then took another step. Scuff. My blood ran cold. I pulled the curtain aside just enough to look. The alley was empty. No one, no movement, just dumpsters and shadows and that dark window across from me. I laughed it off. Nerves, sleep deprivation. The city makes noise. That's what cities do. False relief. Around 4 a.m., something shifted in my peripheral vision. I was sitting at my desk, typing, when I felt that unmistakable sensation, like when someone's eyes are on you. I turned slowly toward the window. For a split second, I could have sworn something moved back from the glass across the alley. Not fast, not dramatic, just retreated. I leaned closer, squinting. Nothing. No light, no shape. Just my reflection and the dark square where her bedroom used to glow. That's when I closed my curtains for the first time since moving in. The next day, I ran into her in the stairwell. She was standing too close when I opened the door, like she'd been waiting for the exact moment. I nearly collided with her. "Oh, sorry," I said, stepping back. She smiled. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Her lips stretched wide, held there too long. Her eyes didn't blink. "You work nights," she said. It wasn't a question. "Yeah," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "IT stuff." She nodded slowly, like she was filing that away. "I see your light," she said. "Every night." That should have been harmless, a neighborly comment. Instead, my heart dropped to my stomach. I forced a laugh. "Guess we're both night owls." Her smile twitched. "I used to keep mine on," she said, "but it started watching me back." I didn't know what to say to that. Before I could respond, she turned and walked down the stairs, cardigan swaying with each step. Her shoes didn't make a sound. That night, I kept my curtains closed. Around 2 a.m., I heard the footsteps again. This time, they were closer. Inside the building. Slow. Measured. Coming down the hallway outside my door. I muted my mic, holding my breath. The footsteps stopped right outside my apartment. I stared at the door handle, waiting for it to turn. Nothing happened. After a full minute, the steps resumed, moving away. I didn't sleep after my shift ended. I sat on my couch until the sun came up, convincing myself it was just another tenant. False relief again. The following night, my power flickered. Just once, enough to reset my monitors and plunge my apartment into darkness. Across the alley, her window lit up. Bright, brighter than before. A harsh white glow instead of yellow. My chest tightened. Something moved behind the glass. Not a silhouette, not a person. It was too tall. The proportions were wrong. The head tilted at an angle that made my neck ache just looking at it. I backed away from the window, heart hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. The light clicked off. Immediately, someone knocked on my door. 3 slow taps. I didn't move. Another knock, louder this time. "I know you're awake," her voice said through the door. Calm, pleasant, too close. My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down on the floor to keep quiet. The doorknob rattled once, gently, testing. Then the footsteps retreated. I didn't open the door. I didn't call the police. I told myself that if I did, I'd sound insane, that nothing actually happened. At 6 a.m., when daylight filled the alley, I packed a bag. I didn't even change clothes. I just grabbed my laptop, my wallet, and left. As I locked the door, I glanced down the hallway. She was standing at the far end, half hidden by the stairwell shadow, smiling, not blinking. I stayed with a friend for a week, told my landlord I was breaking the lease due to safety concerns. He didn't argue, just nodded like he already knew. I moved across town, new building, new job, normal hours. I'm safe now. But every night, I check the windows across from me. And sometimes, I swear I see a familiar white light, just for a second. I never look long enough to confirm it.